Hey Seekers, and welcome back to the Hanged Woman podcast. I'm your host Julienne Irons, and over the past few weeks, we've looked at past lives through the practical lens of self-healing with Indra Kelly, the psychological and scientific lens with Jennifer Sleeper, and even stepped through the doorway of regression ourselves with my own past life regression session with Jennifer. Now today, we're widening the frame, because we're exploring what it means to carry energy across time, how frequencies, ancestors, and karmic loops weave through lifetimes, and how understanding those patterns can bring deep release in the here and now. My guest today is Rachel Erin Bossio, who you might remember from our Death, Dying, and the Afterlife theme. Rachel is an energy worker, medium, and intuitive, and her work bridges neuroscience, metaphysics, and the ancient wisdom of frequency, helping people untangle energetic cords, heal ancestral imprints, and realign with the timelines their souls are truly meant to live. Y'all, this is such a fun episode, and we are so honored to have Rachel back with us again. This is the Hanged Woman podcast, where perspective is power. Let's get into it. Hey, fellow seekers. I'm taking a quick pause from the show to share something really close to my heart. And honestly, the only reason you're even listening to this podcast right now. It's Three of Cups. My sisters and I created Three of Cups, an Iron Sisters mission of love, as a space for healing, beauty, growth, and community, because we believe life is meant to be full, rich, and abundant in every way. We offer all kinds of ways to support you: energy healing, heart-centered art, even marketing that will help you enhance your brand's presence in the world. Because wherever you are in your journey, we want to help you feel seen, supported, and empowered. So if you're looking for something to help fill your cup in whatever way you need, come join us. Follow us on Instagram at 3 of Cups Healing, or explore all of our offerings at 3ofcupshealing.com. Because Seeker, your cup deserves to be full. And now, back to the episode. Rachel, I'm so happy to have you back on the show. I'm so grateful that you are back here to talk about something that I find so exciting, and it's been such an exciting journey over the past few weeks with past lives, and to have you here to anchor the conversation and to bring us home. I feel really lucky. So thank you for being here.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'm the lucky one. I get to sit and chat with you and talk about these amazing things and experiences that we all have and, kind of bring it all together.
Yes. So, Rachel, I know that we've heard a little bit about you from a previous episode on Death, Dying, and the Afterlife, but for those who are new to you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and just how you got to the work that you do?
Yeah, so I am a medium. That's kind of like my bag. I love connecting people with their loved ones in the spirit plane. That bringing that sense of peace and closure, but also hope is like really what it's all about for me. How I kind of came into it was through energy work. It first started with just illness, unexplained illness, going to doctors, and then moving into holistic approaches. And then from there, still not quite better, I was introduced into the world of energy and energy healing. And then it kind of just snowballed, and I discovered things about myself and my own healing and my own journey in that. And I'm still learning. And that's the cool part about it is I don't think you could ever know enough.
Yeah, it feels like a continuous journey of learning. And I love that. Like, I love learning new things. That's why this podcast is so much fun for me, because I'm always learning something new. So I totally understand that. Like, it's a never ending journey of learning.
Yeah. And that's what life is about, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited to talk to you about past lives. So let's just start with how you personally define past lives from an energetic perspective.
Okay, that's a great question. And I'll notate your previous episode or segment with Indra Kelly. I truly aligned with what her definition was. And I'll just add to it as being for myself, well, for everyone, really, it's you can look at it as an alternate expression of your consciousness that coexists outside of linear time. And she talked about being stacked. Let's take it another step further and it being folded. So everything that we experience in the past and future, that kind of creates our present, right? Because present doesn't exactly exist. We are quickly moving into the future from the past, and then we call it present.
Wow. Whoa, what a mind bend that is.
I know.
Wait, so then again, we're quickly moving into the future from the past, and we call that the present. Holy
Yeah.
moly.
I know. So when you look at it that way, not to get all, Marty McFly on everyone, but the soul is like an energetic continuum, right? Like we exist through time and space, and everything we experience is all at once, like Indra so perfectly put. But the soul is a continuous field of consciousness, and that transcends time and space.
Wow, that is so cool. Now, you've talked about how the study of past lives actually began with neuroscience. Can you share that origin story and how science and spirit intersect?
Definitely. It depends on what lens you choose to look from, right? So we know the concept of past lives and the beliefs of reincarnation have ancient roots. So many cultures and religions have philosophical traditions that involve reincarnation. We could take it back to ancient India, Asian religions like Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism. They all kind of mention that, right? Go even deeper. I think that there's even historical evidence of Celtic druids teaching or having a doctrine of reincarnation. So it really dates back. But when we look at the study of it in Western society, that became more a systematic study. Western society, there's several psychiatrists that have written books on it, studied patients. They kind of came into it by accident. We can notate that it kind of started with psychiatry and parapsychology, really,
What's parapsychology?
the study of paranormal phenomena. So it's the extrasensory perception, that ESP and psychokinesis, right? But it ties into psychology, it ties into psychiatry because, okay, for example, look at what I do. I am a mental medium. I'm receiving impressions in my mind, and I have to actually create space for that and know and recognize the subtle difference between my own thoughts and that that's coming in as a knowing, as an image, as something from the other side. So it's kind of cool because all of that is really built on the foundation of neuroscience. It's not exact science, but it really is. I think science is really just curiosity, and from there, curiosity fuels the mind. And at some point, it meets spirituality, and spirituality is the bridge of what science can't answer.
And has isn't that what it's been for all of time? Like the stuff we know now, we had no concept of 200 years ago, even 50 years ago.
Exactly. So going back even further, kings, queens, kingdoms had mystics, and they were the scientists, they were the alchemists. So this isn't something new. We're kind of a little in our ego right now in the Western society. Like we think we have to find the answer.
Right.
But that answer really for each individual lies within.
Wow, I love that. So let's talk about timelines and frequency. What do those terms really mean for someone listening who's new to this energetic language?
I would break it down first with frequency, because frequency is your inner vibration. Okay. It's your signature. And it's kind of the signature of your subconscious. It's where it lies in your thoughts, actions, and beliefs. So when you, like we've talked before about like matching your frequency, it's interchangeable, because you can match your frequency to a timeline, and a timeline can also just match your frequency. So timelines are the different versions of reality that match that vibration that you're putting off.
So if I'm in this timeline right now and I want to shift into another timeline, what I have to do is get onto the frequency of that timeline in order to be there.
Yes, it sounds harder than it is, and it can be challenging, because we are here on earth. We are living a life full of lessons and being taught repeatedly through our experiences and our behaviors and our reactions and actions. So, can you change it? Of course. But can you also fall out of it and change it again? Of course. So, it's kind of learning to know yourself, heal. Taking those steps to heal will, I think, prevent you from falling back into that other timeline that you tried to shift out of. So, healing is a big part of that. And that goes through consciousness, through physical healing. There's a lot of different aspects to us.
Where do these timelines actually exist? Because like I get the concept of them, but there's a part of my brain that I'm like, is it in our consciousness? Is it in some other form of reality that we don't see as humans, like another dimension? Where do they actually exist for us?
I think that they exist right next to us. Looking at it from a holographic universe mindset or theory, everything is connected, right? We're a fragment of a field of consciousness. So when you zoom in, we have our own timelines and past lives that are all happening at the same time. And also our ancestral is all kind of tied into us. But then when we look at the bigger picture, we're just fragments of the bigger picture, the big universe. And you know what's crazy is that there's actually like a few very deep cartoons that I think Disney has come out with, or Pixar or something, that kind of talks about that. Like it follows these cartoon characters, it's showing them, and we think they're the main character, right? And then we learn as it zooms out that they're a part of a different ecosystem. And that's the monster that's like destroying their lives, but really they're the ones that were destroying the thing that they're existing on, that they found their life on. And it all kind of interloops like that.
It kind of reminds me of Men in Black, like that last scene where it's like all the worlds, the galaxies all go into their own little spheres, and then like we pull out, and then there's just like these giant alien creatures playing with balls, like playing with like
100%. And I mean, I know that sounds so sci-fi, but like we are sci-fi. It comes from somewhere, because it it's so much more complex, but also so very simple at the same time. And that is why we're here, is to grow and get that depth to our soul, and to be able to transition so effortlessly into timelines and space and past lives and heal. But in that same time, we're shifting and healing our lineage. So I think it's just all a big interconnected cycle of energy, really.
Do you think that it's complex because we don't logically understand it? Because I know you're just like it's complex, but it's also very simple.
Yeah. It could be so simple. Think about it. We hear about how we only use like a certain percentage of our brain. Our brain is literally this network of knowledge and neurons and electricity. And so if we're only using like a very limited part, and we are able to awaken some of that through spirituality, through thinking outside of logic, we're kind of opening up that space. And it kind of can freak you out a little bit. My brother, I absolutely love my conversations with him because that guy can go so deep. And I feel like he's the only person that we can really feed off of that. And he's not afraid to like question everything. And I think that's what you have to do.
I love that. I love the concept of like just questioning and searching hey, this is why I call me and my listeners, we're seekers. Like we want to know more
Yeah.
about everything.
Yeah. When you look at things through that scope of even just like through a child's eyes, they always say that, it's so pure. And they're just taking in the world and they don't understand why it's the way it is. But they'll ask the questions and then they learn. And of course, we put them in this box that we were put in. And so we're like, oh, no, that's not real. This is this. And you have to go to school and you have to learn this exact thing. We already box ourselves up. Whereas before, when we didn't have all of the distractions that we have now, and it was more spiritually based, like our ancestors went off of their gut feelings, they went off of the stars, they had powwows to bring forward their past ancestors for knowledge, and hieroglyphics speak of alien, it seems like alien life form coming, spaceships, it's in there, it's in the history. So if you look at everything with that open mindset, which is really hard to do when we're already trained to think a certain way, you're breaking that. And I think that's all we can do.
Oh, I love that. Goosebumps. So let's talk about some myths and misconceptions. What do you think are some of the biggest myths you encounter about past lives or karma?
I would say first is the idea that we have to clear what happened in our past life to be okay in this life. There's always kind of this, and I'll call it a myth, of a negative experience or negativity, right? But there's also a lot positive that came out of these past lives or linear lives. What are those? Do we ask ourselves that when we are discovering the past life, when we are in the trance and we're bringing up how we died and how horrific it was, and that's why I'm this way and that's why I can't go near this? But do we talk about what's also gained in that? You're cautious. That's a great attribute. Forgiveness, all of these things, I would call them virtues we gain. So in past lives or linear lives, we're not only experiencing negative things, but we're experiencing positive things. And what comes out of it are virtues that feed our soul, that carry forward into next lives, into our lineage. But we also have those vices. But a vice doesn't have to be a negative, right? We can still find, what do we gain from that? So if I can remember this and everything in my life brought me to this moment of delving into this past life that came up, because I believe at what you're going through right now in your life, and you have a past life session, what came up was meant to come up specifically for what's going on in your life now. Whether it be as like, here's the test. Did she learn it from this life? Is she going to take something from that knowledge in this life? And those vices, how do we overcome them now in this life? So there's a lot more to look at.
What would some of those vices be?
Vices can just be fear. Fear, it can
Mm.
be even the sense of searching for safety or comfort. A vice would be running to anger as soon as you're triggered. Whereas in that life, you were taught that that didn't get you anywhere, right? Or in another life,
Oh, interesting.
this is the test. Can you change that? Can you now transmute it to peace, love, and compassion?
So, for example, in my life, I feel like I'm always chasing this sense of stability and safety. And so, would that be considered a vice?
I would say that's a vice and a virtue
Mm,
because you can't chase something that you haven't experienced. You don't know what it would feel like. So why would you chase it?
right.
So you know it's there. It's innately in your
Mm,
soul. It's imprinted. And you're just trying to find it in this
right.
lifetime. So maybe that's what this lesson is. This lesson is, do you have to chase it or can you find it within you?
Oh, that just gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, that answer's in you, girl.
Yeah. Because it's like, why do I keep searching for something that I already have innately within me rather than just focusing on what I already have innately within me, which is safety and security?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you
boom.
know how to create that for you.
All right, so I love that. So we talked about the myths of past lives. What about karma?
I'll tell you the one that bothers me, that I feel deeply in my soul and from what I've experienced with taking people through their Akashic records and healing is I've seen this in the spiritual community and they talk about not, it's like a warning, it's very serious, like don't go to the bright light. It's a soul trap. And then you're going to be reincarnated and you just keep living the same horrible life. But that's not true. Our
Mm,
creator, whom which we're a fractal of, which means, let me remind you all, you are a co-creator of your experiences. You're a co-creator of this life. Nothing I have experienced in the ethereal and the astral worlds is a trap. Okay, everything
mm,
is put in place by you. You approved it, you signed the little dotted line, however you want to look at it. But that bright light, telling people to not go to the bright light is just, to me, unsafe. It's not
yeah,
nice. That bright light, if you look back at NDEs, like a near death experience, and people come back and they talk about this experience and they're so enlightened, right?
right.
And they talk about this light. Almost every one of them talks about this light, even through the hypnosis of past life regressions. They'll talk about when they died and they went, into darkness and then there was this light. But that light, they explain, is warmth. It feels like home. It is all knowing. It knows you. It's comforting to you. It's like coming back to your mother's arms. That isn't a trap. So if you get reincarnated, then that was something you chose. Hey, I'm going to see this light. I'm going to go into it and boom, I'm being born again. Because guess what? If I didn't meet my expectations, what I set forth for myself in this life, I'm going to come back and do it. It's practice. Steph Curry didn't become one of the best, basketball players of our time by just his good looks and wit and charm. He practiced. That shot that he can make from any angle came from dedication, from repetition. So if you are reincarnated and very quickly from the light, that just means that you nope, I'm going to come right back and do it because now I know what I did and I'm going to find it and I'm going to learn it and then I'm going to turn it around in this life.
Wow. Do you know where that myth of going to the bright light is bad came from?
I don't know. I think the spiritual community, everyone has their own, and that's good. Everyone has their own experiences.
Yeah.
So again, I'm only speaking on my experience and as a medium.
Right.
Nobody wants to think that their loved one went to the light and then just became some rando on the
Mm,
street. In Indra's words, we're simultaneously living. And so, yeah, you may have been incarnated. And when I call you in a spiritual mediumship session, part of your soul, your fragment that was in this life with this person is coming forward. And it's still a part of that person that's living now this linear life.
Right.
You have to look at it from a wider scope. I'll also say, as a medium, what I've experienced with people who don't go to the light, or spirits that don't go to the light, and this isn't to scare anyone, but they do end up in a lower vibrational state. When
Mm.
I connect to the spirit plane, because that is how I connect as a medium, is I connect to the spirit plane on my sitter's behalf. So I'm not reaching out to very specific people. I am trusting that their energy on their behalf will come through, and those loved ones of love and light will come through for them in that cosmic connection, right?
Yeah.
So I can't say who's going to come forward. But those that come forward, sometimes I can feel a shift in the energy, and I'm not getting a full communication. And I'm like, where are you? And then they'll show me, well, I didn't go to the light. Oh,
Oh.
okay, well then this is different. I got to match now my vibration, my frequency to you, because it's lower than where the spirit plane is. But it's a part of
Wow.
it. It's fear. So
Mm.
I have to help them. And we call them waywards. Waywards float around this plane of existence, our plane, all the time, and we call them ghosts. They didn't go to light. There was something that scared them. They probably got told by somebody on the internet to not go to the light. They just got trapped. And some of them, they say, we hear of unfinished business. That could be very well, okay, but let's help them. So the energy and things are being moved and lights are switching because we need to help them. And sometimes I will say it's not just out of fear. Sometimes the way a person passes away can kind of knock them out of even seeing the light initially. So it's almost like, because their passing was so traumatic,
Mm.
even for the soul, which again they signed up for, it kind of leaves them not in a limbo, but just in this lower vibrational state. And it's our job as healers and mediums and, spiritualists to recognize it, that subtle shift of energy, of vibration, and ask them, what's your story? How can I help you? Let me get you to this light. But first, let's help this person. Let's help heal your sitter. So sometimes the story unfolds that way. I don't like the idea of it being called a soul trap or a reincarnation trap, because this is school. You repeat a grade because you didn't get something right. So let's go back. Let's get it right.
Wow, so fascinating. So we talked a little bit about karmic debt. Now, many people hear the phrase karmic debt and feel fear or guilt about it. How do you reframe karma in a more empowering way?
I like this. I like this question, because I see a lot of karmic debt or karmic loops, contracts in my energy work as a healer. But some of them are so easy to just, ah, this was already, this was paid in full, and I look at it that way. But it's also not, debt is such a humanized word, right? Debt makes us fearful. It's scary. Oh, that's why we're here. We're in trouble. No, I would look at karmic debt as a natural feedback system. So think of it like planting seeds. Okay. We live by our thoughts, our actions, our beliefs, and they guide us. And some may be wrong, and we disagree with others, and this and that. And everybody's lives are different and what they experience, right? But really, those thoughts, words, actions plant seeds in your garden of life. So, looking as an individual, what are you going to water? Are you going to water the negative thoughts, the negative emotions of what happened to you, being raised by a single mother and it was hard, and the struggle? Yeah, we carry some of those things in our lineage. We carry them and we think, what did I do that was so bad? And I've heard that. I feel like there was a point in time where I asked that question. I think we all have. I must have been an asshole in my past life, right? Like, because I'm getting it back.
Yeah.
But no, even if you were, this is the learning. This is the tool to teach you compassion, forgiveness. Forgiving yourself is probably the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Forgiving what you can't control. Here's a big one. Forgiving God. A lot of us
Mm.
will throw that blame straight up.
Yeah.
And really, again, our creator, but we're fractals of him. We came here to learn. So we also created this life. We created these experiences, these hardships. And sometimes it's as simple as being like, okay, I'm going to connect to my higher self. I'm going to sit in my power and connect to the creator. And I'm going to co-create something different in this life. And we call that manifestation.
Yeah.
Right? We call it, can even scientifically, if we want to go that deep, is neuroplasticity. Changing the pattern and creating new pathways for your neurons and your consciousness to reframe. It's reframing.
Oh, so cool. I love how like manifestation is really just neuroscience. It really is just like
Right?
repatterning your brain so that you see things different. What do you call it? Your reticular activating system can see things differently because you've repatterned your brain in a way to see those things.
Yeah. But science will be like, no, that's not proof. We need scientific evidence. The scientific method to study this. But it is there. Manifestation is that. It goes even deeper into EMDR, therapy. That's the same thing. You're visiting a trauma and you're trying to reroute the brain for it to not have such an impact on your thoughts and who you are, your beliefs. And that has been proven to create neural pathways.
Yeah. For those who are not familiar, can you just say what EMDR is?
Yes, it is eye movement, desensitization, reprocessing. So what that is taking you, like I said, you're being brought back into this trauma or these traumas, and you, again, that repetition, right? Steph Curry didn't become the best. It's repetition. So we're just going over that same trauma, how you reacted, how your body reacted, how your emotions were impacted. And we look at it over and over and over. You revisit it. You're taken into almost a meditation. You're visualizing it. You're remembering your experience. And then each time you're remembering something different. And each time you're learning to change it or not be impacted by it emotionally and physically. And they do that by like rapid eye movement. I've done it before. She gave me these little paddles in my hand that were like vibrating simultaneously in each hand. So that was
Oh,
activating a part of my brain that while I'm in this memory, it's changing it, right? It's bringing in a different factor of my brain that's not there in a trauma, that when you're experiencing it, you're in fight or flight. You're activated in a different way. Different parts of the brain are fire it off. And so it brings in this other part that's like reason and logic. And then you start to reshape your experience.
ooh, so cool.
It is. It's a very powerful thing, but we also have that ability within ourselves.
Okay, Seekers, I think this is a really great place to take a break. We'll be right back with the episode. Every successful business needs that aha moment, the spark where your passion meets your purpose and your vision connects with the people who need it most. At the Magician's Vision, a branch of Three of Cups, we believe that moment begins with intuition. It's not just a feeling, it's your most powerful business tool. In tarot, the magician represents power, inspired action, and the deep knowing that everything you need is already within reach. Wands for passion, pentacles for abundance, swords for communication, cups for creativity. Together they form the foundation of powerful, soul-aligned business strategies. As part of Three of Cups, the Magician's Vision is here to help bring your vision to life. using the power of intuition, the magic of creativity, and the wisdom of experience to build meaningful connections with your community and grow your business with heart. Your vision, your magic. Let's make it real and fill your cup at threeofcupshealing.com. And now, back to the episode.
We talked about this a little bit, the idea that we as souls choose repetition or returning to similar themes or relationships until something finally integrates. Is there anything more to that you'd like to add?
I think just reiterating the idea of repetition and practice, and that we're in a school from an athletic mindset, muscle memory. We are trying to activate muscle memory so that in the next life, we can recall that in us innately and go an opposite way, choose an alternate path, heal it. In acknowledging it and practicing it and reliving it, those themes, we learn so much more.
Let's talk about like the ancestral and collective energy of past lives. How do ancestral energies or inherited traumas fit into the past life conversation?
I love this question. Okay, it fits because, well, first, you can be your own ancestor in a past life. What?
Whoa! Wait, we could be our own ancestors in a past life.
Yes. So we touched base on that. I don't know if you remember in our last segment that we did together about death and dying, and we did the witch wound, healing the witch wound. And it came up for you and your
Yeah.
sisters of being your own ancestors.
Oh, you're right.
And it's not, it's not for everyone. I think everyone probably has an ancestor past life, but the key to it all, really, what really ties it all in together, is that it's all stored in the same place. It imprints on your soul, it changes your being, and it's stored in the physical body in the same place that past lives, inherited ancestral energies and traumas, those manifest in the same way through the physical body. And we call that epigenetics.
Wow, we do. Holy crap.
Right?
Yeah. Whoa. So for somebody who's listening who doesn't know what epigenetics is, can you just tell us what that is a little bit?
Epigenetics are changes in your gene expression. So it's not a change in your DNA. Your DNA isn't changed by it, but I'm saying scientific community is coming up with this. This is like a known thing that kind of ties in with the neuroplasticity. Is we now know that our ancestors, what they lived, their lived experiences, their traumas, even their fortitude, their strength, certain things, and then physical attributes can cause a chemical change, not to your DNA, but by turning certain genes on or off.
Whoa, yeah. Yeah. The human experience is so fascinating.
It is. It's crazy. And that'll show up emotionally, physically. It can show up in our lives in multiple ways, in our physical body, in the way we view and accept and give love, how we talk to ourselves.
Yeah. Is that kind of like what energetic inheritance is?
Oh, definitely. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, yeah. So this
Yeah.
is how energetic inheritance can show up in our everyday life and how that's also tied to a scientific understanding of what it actually is, epigenetics.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
It's the passing of traits and experiences between generations through epigenetics. Yeah. That's your inheritance from
Yeah.
energy. And energy is shifting our physical. We know that.
How do we recognize that it's energetic inheritance showing up for us? whether it's in our body, in our behavior, in our relationships? How do we know it's that and not something else?
I think the best answer is mindfulness. We talked before when I had a conversation with you in a previous episode about that stillness. This is a lot. When you're listening, you're like, I have to ask all this. But you're in this life getting to know yourself, right? That's what we reach our 30s and we're like, okay, now I actually want to know me. Like, how do I tick? How do I move? What is this? You need to know yourself, and that's how you learn to love yourself, and in turn you can give love. So I think that's in that stillness you can ask these questions. Your soul will answer. Your muscle memory will answer. You'll get a flash and you'll know this isn't mine. And sometimes it's as simple as asking, is this mine? Okay. And that can be a quick yes or no, yes. Okay. But is it mine from this life? Yes. No. Okay. Well, then we need to do some past life work. And then if you get a no, this isn't yours. Okay. Whose is it? So then we start to look within and think, is it our people that we're interacting with daily? Am I absorbing something of theirs? And you'll get your answer in that stillness. Okay, it's not. This is deeper. Okay? Is this ancestral? And is something coming forward for me to heal?
Yeah, that's what I learned in our grief arc when I sat down and talked about ancestral healing with Dr. Anjali Lafori and Maria del Carmen Paracano. And we talked about ancestral grief and ancestral trauma. And I realized that the anxiety that I've been carrying with me and that my sisters have and that my mom has, I was like, oh, this is not mine. It's not even ours. And I think I'm realizing that in this moment right here, right now, it's not ours. Like I just asked myself as you were talking, okay, is this anxiety ours? Like as a collective, my mom, my sisters, and I, and the answer was no.
No. And that answer is the truest answer.
It feels so real to me. It's like, no, it's not yours. It's been passed down from the women in my lineage
Mm-hmm.
because of the life and the fear that they carried with them. And now we can, in this generation, heal that and release that fear.
Exactly. And look at where you are, too. Look at what happened, your own tragedies and your own traumas that brought you to this point. It took every one of you into the place that you are of healing, of something more in depth. There's more meaning behind this, right? This pain. And so you guys are the chosen ones. You're the ones that are going to rewrite the history. You're rewriting that right now by learning, by growing, by energetic healing, by connecting to that pain, to those anxieties. It's just for us physically, it kind of sucks. It's coming up physically for us. Anxiety is horrible to deal with. But when you take a step back and you're like, okay, I can handle this. I can do this and I can turn it into something else. I may need help. That's not go handle your anxiety, your extreme anxiety on your own. We all need help. That's okay. Get your help. That doesn't take away from the spiritual aspect and the healing that's going to take place throughout all time and space.
Right.
You're the one that changes that for everyone.
And as I heal this within myself and as my sisters heal it within themselves, we can then heal the other fragmented parts of our soul as well that experience that. Is that true?
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. But it's hard to take it on and to always look at it like that.
Yeah.
It can be overwhelming to be the healers.
Mm.
I don't think that's talked about enough. We're still here having an experience, a learning session.
Yeah.
We're being taught, but at the same time, I don't know if I have all the tools to heal you, and you. But I'll try. But there's a lot that comes with that. isolation.
Right.
It takes you out of your reality, and it kind of just makes things, I would say, vivid, but not colorful. And you can kind of get caught up in that as a light
Yeah.
worker, as the generational shift. You're the person that's going to shift it.
Yeah. And maybe it's just trusting too that I can do the work for myself. We can do the work for ourselves. And it's trusting that as we do the work for ourselves, other fragmented parts of our souls that are needing that healing will receive it. But it's not necessarily our job to gift it out to everyone. It's just our job to find that healing for ourselves right here, right now, and then trust that it'll be received by the parts of our soul that needs it, that are not in this life.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It will. And you can always call out to those. First of all, I always, in my healing sessions, first ask, do we have any soul fragments? Where are they?
Right.
Who were they given to? And that ties in with courting. That ties in with, things like we talk about the karmic loops and the contracts. If you know they exist, you can call them back. You can cut them. You can change them. It may take a few times, especially with soul fragments. I feel yours run deep in your lineage. And then you have soul fragments that you gave away to those stories, right? Like we give fragments of ourselves to people that we are experiencing life with, our loved ones. I always have to call in my soul fragments from my kids because it doesn't help them. It's just what we do. We're giving pieces of ourselves, but then we don't have pieces of ourselves. So
I do this meditation, and in the meditation, it's like call in the fragmented pieces of yourself that you've given away and release the fragmented pieces that aren't yours. And sometimes I get confused as to what I should be calling in and what I should be pushing out. Do you have any insight on that?
yeah. Okay. So if you think like we got a physical body, we have a spirit body, we have a metaphysical body, and our soul's tied to all of them. So we have an astral field, we have magnetic field, and some people say that it's the same thing, but it's kind of not. If you look at things from the perspective of a holographic soul and a holographic universe, there are fragments that we are giving that I give physical fragments every day to my clients, to my family. And we do that in an emotional way. We do that by spreading ourselves too thin, which all of us do. We even give fragments to our job. Like you could work at like the worst place ever and you're giving pieces of your soul there, or a fragment of your physical. It really just depends on how you give it away and how it makes you feel when you call it back in. So I think that there's a lot of physical we give away. There's a lot of, I even want to say knowledge has its own like field around us. And we give that away so freely, right? Emotions have its own little field. We give that away. And then when you get to the soul, there's people that I have found, clients, where they were just handing it out like Halloween candy, you know, and
Yeah.
it was actually soul fragments. Like, so you can feel for someone and you can help someone and you can grasp that from your soul. But giving fragments of it, it's not helping you and it's not going to help them because if you look at them as an individual, they have fragments everywhere too. So your fragments can't make them whole.
So let's just go back to like my example that I had earlier, which I know a lot of us feel, especially right now in the state of the world, is this feeling of not feeling safe or not feeling secure. And so would that be a fragment that I'm calling back? I already know the innate feeling within me, but would that be an example of, okay, I want to call back this fragment of safety that I lost. I want to call back this fragment of security that I lost, and I want to bring it back to me so that I have it again. Is that
Yes.
okay?
It all needs each other. It all
Yeah.
feeds off of each other. You're more than just this physical body, but you're also more than a spirit. You're even soul. Like your soul is everything, right? But
Yeah.
in this body, it has all these other layers. So, yeah, if you're feeling this way in this world and you want to call it back, ask for it in this plane of existence. What fragments have I released in this plane? Physical, metaphysical, spiritual, on the soul level. I call those back to me. I call back my safety, my security. I call back my peace.
I love that. That feels so freeing and healing.
Yeah. And we're
Yeah.
here, these souls on this plane of existence that's so, it's the physical. Everything feels so physical.
Yeah.
So call it back.
Can we talk a little bit more about how healing our own patterns can create change backwards and forwards in different lives and influence our lineage or future generations?
It works like a ripple effect. And you have to see it that way. You know, you can feel how hard it is to make changes physically. I've been trying to quit coffee for now a month, and I'm down to half a cup. You know, those
Yay!
changes are hard.
Congratulations!
Those are hard changes. But
Yeah.
so think of it that way. If you need to look at it from like a physical aspect, it's not easy. Those changes first need to be felt in one place. So whether that be first physical or first spiritually, I am making this change. I am healing this. Try to just recognize it in those different states, like in your spirit, in your physical. And once you kind of feel it on that soul level, it comes through your DNA. And through the DNA, we're connected to the history of us, the history of our family. I think that that is how it influences. I think that if you look at how it first presents itself, that already is a sign that if you heal this, it's going to go back and it's going to go to those future generations as well. You are changing the trajectory. So, again, kind of bringing up that holographic soul, we're fractals in that. I don't even want to call it a simulation, but there's the cause and effect. So, really, the fabric of reality could be more malleable than we imagined. So, you just thinking about yourself and changing yourself in these patterns that you don't like has a ripple effect on all those other existences that are taking place at the same time. And then bringing up the science again, epigenetics. When we heal something in us, it's going to be healed in our children, in their children. They're not even going to know that this existed.
Oh, I love that for them.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I love that for them. So let's talk about frequency and healing a little bit more. How can listeners begin to sense or shift their own energetic frequency using frequency calibration?
Right. We know those terms, and it's a great term for meditation, for grounding, for journaling and free writing, sitting in that power. But sensing the shift really is first, you got to be aware. Your awareness matters. So if you can be aware of your frequency now, like my frequency right now is very calm. I feel words flow. But when I'm in the car on the highway going to pick up my kids, it's like Fast and the Furious and I'm at war. So that shift in my energy is different. I become a protector. I become like, I got to get there, and it's very physical. So you know when you're in that spiritual vibration. You feel it. You feel very enlightened. You feel very euphoric, and you get those chills or like a rush of goosebumps in the body. Those are your confirmations, but they can be so subtle. And I think it's really just the awareness of recognizing it.
So, Rachel, what tools or practices do you recommend for releasing cords, clearing karmic loops, or closing energetic contracts that no longer serve us?
I would say the most simple one, and I take my clients through this, is getting into a meditation, taking some deep breaths, exhaling, and in that, release what's kind of pent up in your mind's eye. You want to visualize yourself. I like to say you're in this room. It's an empty room. It doesn't matter what the room looks like. It matters that you're in it. It's empty. It's a big room. And I want you to see this person or this experience or situation that you've courted yourself to, because we court ourselves to situations, we court ourselves to people, and courting doesn't help anyone. It doesn't serve anyone. It doesn't serve them, and it doesn't serve you. It just weighs you down, and those cords can build up and be heavy. So sometimes I say all the people and all the things, so that you don't have to see faces. You just know there's a group on the other end. The mind will start going through all these things that is weighing you down. And I just ask them to see the cord that's connecting them, that person, to all of these things and people and situations and circumstances. And I love to get like a little theatrical with it, maybe even cartoonish. I envision those big, giant scissors in cartoons where they do a grand opening, those grand opening scissors.
Yeah.
And I'm like, take these big old scissors and you're just going to start chopping away at those cords. And there's a big group of cords, they kind of start to, when you put pressure, they start to shift outward. You're just going to keep dicing away at it, right? Until that last snip. And that last snip is going to be release. And you're going to get a flush through your body. And you just witness that weight kind of let up. And you hear or feel and see those cords hit the floor. Okay? And then I tell them, look down, and those cords are now falling off of you. So they were connected right at like your belly button. They just fall to the ground because you cut it. You cut their life force.
Mm.
And they just shrivel up
Ah.
and they become dust. And I tell them to imagine this great big light. This is Creator's light. And that dust is just, those particles are just lifting to that light. Let Creator take that.
I love that because I always thought that I'd like keep pulling the cord out of me. And sometimes when I do it, it's like, pull the cord, it keeps coming, it won't stop, the cord won't stop. But what a beautiful and empowering vision to know that once you cut that cord, you took away its life force. So it no longer has any power over me.
Yeah.
Ah, I love that.
Yes, exactly. But here's the thing, there's always two sides, right? So
Yeah.
when you cut the cord and you witness it fall off of you, you have to look across the room
Okay.
and you have to see it fall off of them, off of that situation, off of that circumstance. And it falls to the ground in the same way. I guide them through this to witness it leave off of them as well. And then when you cut cords, you have to close it up. That was an opening to you. That was a channel of your energy. So I like to tell them, just rub your tummy. We're going to do it clockwise, just rubbing that area. And you can be
Mm-hmm.
as wide as you need to, as much pressure as you need to, and just keep doing that until you feel or know the words, just stop, you're done.
Yeah.
And in that, I want them to also envision that when they're doing that on their self, that they're also closing that hole where those cords were coming out of the person
Oh, wow.
that sent
Yeah.
them to them, or vice versa, right? So we're closing them up as well.
Mm.
And in that, they say, I release you. So cutting cords is more than just chop, you're done, you're clean, you're good. We have to fill whatever you take away, you need to fill. And you should always try to fill it with love, compassion, all of these things for yourself and for the other person, for that situation, for that experience. And then, yeah, when you're ready, you just wake up.
That was so profound. I am so curious about karmic loops and energetic contracts.
Well, loops, if you think about it, if it's looping, that means it's complete. A loop is a circle, right? So the idea, if I find a karmic loop, I'm going to immediately look at the past life that they lived before that. And I'm going to find why this is looping. Okay, this was looped. Okay, they paid that in full. We don't need this. Get rid of it. And the loop really is just you stop it. You just put your hand out, stop it from repeating.
Continuing the cycle. Yeah.
Yeah, continuing the cycle, stop it, and send it to Creator's Light. This loop is over.
And I can do that myself in like a meditation or just like in the moment or
Yeah.
like if I have a constant loop happening in my life, if we have constant loops happening in our life and that thing happens, can we just be like, I see you, your loop, stop. I'm giving you up to the creator.
Stop. Investigate where it came from.
Investigate where it came from. Okay.
That's first, because we can't remove something without first acknowledging why it's there.
Right.
And you can ask, Creator, did I learn this lesson? Oh, I did. Okay. So we don't need this loop. I was just torturing myself.
I just asked for about this for something in my life, and Creator immediately said, "Yes, you've learned your lesson. Move on."
So then you say, Creator, please take this.
Yeah.
I am done. Give me that void, null, this contract of this loop, and set me free. Visualizing is really great in your mind's eye for these things. If you felt shackled by that, release those shackles. You're free, girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Set it free, send it up. Always send it up to Creator's Light, because even if you don't know how to handle it, Creator does.
Very empowering. And what about energetic contracts?
Again, let's find where it started. Why did I create this? And you'll get an answer. When you ask that within yourself, when you ask that in a meditation, you can usually find the answer in how it relates to this life. And then you want to ask your higher self, do I need this? Did I pay this in full? Again, it's a contract. Is this contract affecting other contracts that are in my highest good? Is this contract in my highest good for this lifetime now? Those are the questions. It's all about how you word things. And you get some of the most profound answers. And sometimes you get like the easiest answer and you're like, why in the heck was I doing that? And you ask it to integrate what I learned from this contract. If it's done, let it integrate now and release it. Release me from this contract.
And when you say let it integrate, what does that mean?
What you chose, what you set up for yourself to learn.
So let yourself learn it.
Yeah.
Oh, let the lesson become a part of who you are.
Yeah. Energy-wise.
Yeah.
You're just calling that energy. Let me have that energy for this life, but I don't need to keep repeating it. I don't need to keep living this, but let me have those lessons, what I learned from it. Let that integrate into me now.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Rachel, you do so much work in the multidimensional space. How do you personally stay grounded when doing this?
Well, first, I'm very intentional. I think that's an important factor.
Yeah.
Is being intentional with your practice, being intentional with your words and what you are hoping to experience. So intention. But for myself, I go into my meditation and I first anchor myself to our plane of existence, to Mother Gaia. I ground myself, my energy. I send my energy into the earth all the way to its core, and I pull energy from it, because you can be so flighty. It's home when you're in that multidimensional space, right? And things are familiar. But I'm here, and I chose to be here in this space, but also to access that. of what I am, my true origin. But I have to be grounded. So I anchor myself to Mother Gaia. I come into the earth right to its core and I pull energy up from it into myself. And that's actually how I feel it throughout my body. It flows all the way up through me. I feel it once it meets my heart chakra, all the way up to my crown chakra. And that is actually how I leave my space. That is how I bring my consciousness up and out. So, grounding and anchoring to this life and this earth will always bring me back, but it also gives me purpose. Like, I know where I'm going and why, and then I know how to get back, and it's familiar instead of getting lost out
Yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah. For people who are curious but cautious, what's a safe entry point to explore this work without overwhelm or bypassing?
Well, curiosity is number one. If you're going to be cautious, I would say to find a practitioner. It's important to find someone that you resonate with. And sometimes you'll have experiences that didn't resonate with you. And that's okay. That might not have been the practitioner for you. But if you're really trying to be cautious, but you are interested in this, I feel like that's the first step, because if you come across a practitioner who works from love and compassion, you're going to get what you need, and it's going to open up a world to you that feels safe. And so sometimes you just need that connection, and that's kind of like the invite in the door. And then reading, studying, learning as much as you can, and do it from a place of love and curiosity, but not from fear.
Rachel, what signs show up when someone is truly integrating past life or ancestral healing? And how do we know when the energy has actually shifted? I'm so curious to know the answer to this question.
I feel like you know the answer to this question because you've experienced it. It's not pretty. It's ugly.
So
It's the
ugly. Yeah,
ugly.
like,
It's
yeah,
not subtle either.
yeah.
Like, it's going to come through and just blast you out of your reality. And it's unfortunate because we're like, "Oh, I thought I healed this." But every time that I work on myself, I'm like, ugh, I don't want to work on myself, because I always feel like crap after
Yeah.
for like a couple of days. And then I feel that integration. So remember that when, okay, your question was fully integrated, but there is a processing. So I want people to know that it's not just like cherry on the top, you did it. There's a moment of processing, and that's that ugly, that's that dark night of the soul kind of wringing you out of life. And then you move into this lightness. You can feel it physically. You can pay attention to the things that would bother you that no longer do. Certain people that bother you, it just doesn't. They don't. It's almost like you've you feel brighter. Life feels brighter. Colors are more vivid, and your reality feels like 4D, 5D, 6D. You're still in this life and you're still going to have experiences, and they're going to feel more vivid. But your reactivity is going to be different. You can look at things and feel it from the perspective of learning. And that's when you get those chills, those confirmations. You feel that lightness. You see that the sky is brighter, colors more vivid. You'll feel it. And it feels like it's subtle, but it's not, because it truly reaches you to the depth of your being.
Wow. And you're talking about the painful part of it. You know that I had a past life regression session with Jennifer Sleeper. It's Thursday now, so I had it this past Saturday. And on Sunday, I came down with the worst physical feeling flu that I've had in a really long time. And Jennifer said it was because I was like ascending and like I had released some stuff. So I know that doesn't happen to everyone, but is that something that you recognize happens sometimes when we do this inner work?
Definitely. So, what I've learned in sessions like that, because I experience it myself, even when I work on myself, really, we can ask the creator for, like, go easy on me. Let this processing be as mild and gentle as it can possibly be with my physical.
I should have asked that. I didn't ask that. I got an ask. I should have
And it's,
asked.
you learn over time,
Yeah.
you do, but even still, you're gonna feel it. And it's actually a great shift, because it's really our physical confirmation that shit was moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was shifting, it was moving, and it is turning into something else.
Yeah.
And in that, it's lifting you up. So asking for minimal processing, allow it to be gentle with my physical body, and creator answers. You just have to know how to ask the right questions, right?
Okay.
But you also don't want to take away from the experience, because releasing, you will feel sick. You will feel achy, and your soul lifts up in this, I don't even want to say in this plane, in this realm. It's lifted, it's different, it's airy, and up there you're still adjusting with your physical.
Makes so much sense. Yeah, because we released a lot of stuff during that session. It was intense.
Oh, I bet, but it's exciting. I'm
Yes.
excited for you.
Yeah. So as we wrap this up, Rachel, if you could summarize your philosophy in one sentence, what do you believe the soul is really trying to do through all these lives and timelines?
To evolve, to achieve enlightenment in unconditional love and compassion at its core.
I love that. Rachel, this has been such a heart-centered, empowering conversation, and I know that so many people will get a lot out of this. I'm so grateful that I was able to sit down and talk to you about something that I find so fascinating, and I'm really grateful for your time and your energy in this space. Where can people find you if you'd like to be found?
I like to be found. You can find me at afterlifeconnections.net. That is where you can read a little bit about me. You can book a session. You can even interact with me, send me an email. Through there, you can access my Instagram. Yeah.
Rachel, do you feel complete?
I feel so complete.
Love it.
Y'all, that was such a powerful and liberating conversation, and the perfect way to end season 1 of the Hanged Woman podcast. Seekers, it has been my absolute honor to go on this journey with you. From death, dying, in the afterlife, to money, happiness and grief, and now past lives. And we're starting off season 2 strong in January, with the mother wound followed by the father wound, where we'll explore how those wounds shape our sense of self, our relationships, and the way we move through the world. Y'all already know, it's a conversation I've been wanting to have for a very long time, and I'm so excited to be able to have it with you. I'm Julienne Irons, and this is the Hanged Woman podcast, where perspective is power. If you're inspired, please like, share, and follow so we can keep the conversation going. Until next time, hang in there, Seekers.